Hello guys, welcome to my channel. In this video, I will show you how to make your own hair textures so that you won't have to waste your time searching for them on the internet forever and making you want to tear your hairs out. I think that's very nice. There are many ways to make hair textures. You can use tools such as Photoshop or XGen. But if you have a hair tool add-on for the blender, you can use that as well, which is what I'm going to be using today. So open up the blender, and if you look at the hair tool tab, you should see a button called Open Bake Scene. Go ahead and click that, and you should see something like this. This is Hair Texture Baker, which comes with a hair tool add-on, and you can use this to customize a hair particle system and bake out all the texture maps that you need. If you take a look at this section, you can see all of these different texture channels. This is where you can decide which map you want to bake out. You can go through each channel by clicking on these buttons. But for now, I'm going to click on opacity channel. So how do we actually customize these hair particle systems that we bake out our textures from? Thanks to the recent hair tool update, we can now make hair textures easier than ever. It functions a little bit like Photoshop. We can now use deformers, which are like modifiers to procedurally modify the hair particle in non-destructive way. And these deformers can be stuck on top of each other to create awesome effect. So now, let's take a look at those deformers. If you click on this plus icon, you can see we have options such as noise deformer, curl, waves, clump, twist, and trim deformers. These might seem intimidating at first, but don't worry, it's actually super easy to use. And I'm going to show you how to use each of these deformers. To begin with, let's have a look at noise deformer. This will simply add noise and help to add more variation to the hair. And by changing the setting here, you can tweak it to make this noise effect weaker or stronger. And you can really fine-tune the effect. Next, curl and wave deformer. This will make the hair wavy, and it is really helpful if you want to make character with that kind of hairstyle. Next, clump deformer. This will add clumping effect to the hair. You can clump the tip of the hair or root of the hair. And also, you can adjust how much of a clumping effect you want to have on the hair. This is quite handy to make the hair look more interesting. Also, you can use this to make eyelashes. But one thing to keep in mind is that you need to apply it to the child particle system to make this work. So you just need to duplicate the first particle system by clicking on the plus icon. And you need to set this modifier as a child particle by clicking this button. Next, twist deformer. This will add twisting effect on the hair, and just like clump deformer, you need to have two particle systems, one for the parent, one for the child. And for this deformer, it is recommended to use this with clumping deformer to achieve the best result. Finally, trim deformer. This will allow the hair to have random length to each hair strand, and it helps to make the hair look more natural and believable. So basically, that is all the deformers you can use, and they are all quite simple, maybe except the clumping and twist deformers. At this moment, you don't need to fully understand how to use them, but for those two, you need to have two particle system to make them work. Now you know how those deformers work, let's use this knowledge in practical application. We are going to make a simple hair texture so you can make hair with 4 layers. If you are not sure about what I'm talking right now, please check out my previous video for more information. But basically, we are going to make realistic looking hair by layering many hair with each having different hair density and variations. So now, we are going to start off with making the texture for the hair layer 0. For this layer, we need the texture to be dense and thick to cover up the character's head. So I'm going to use this one as a base. It's got all the deformers we need, so we can simply adjust settings for these ones to achieve the result we are after. I am going to select the noise deformer, make this effect weaker, and increase the number of hair strands as well. And we don't need that much variations, so you only need to care about distributing the hair particle evenly. If you are not sure what the hair texture need to look like, you can Google hair texture opacity to get the reference images. Or if you go into the Hair to addon folder, and you can find some reference images there as well. Once you're done with the layer 0, you can move on to make the hair layer 1. So grab this hair particle and move it to the left. And scale this down in the x-axis as well. We are going to use this layer to add variations and break up the repetitive look of layer 0. And we are going to use 2 of slightly less dense hair particle system for this layer, with each having the different hair variations. This is why I scaled this hair particle down a bit moment ago to make more texture space. You really want the variation for this layer, so you can crank up the noise value and make it look more interesting. Once you are happy with the result, you can duplicate this by pressing Ctrl C to copy and Ctrl V to paste. Then again, adjust the settings and make it look a bit different than previous one. Okay, once you're done with editing the hair, we can move on to create the hair layer 2. For this layer, you are doing the same process, but hair particle will have less density than hair layer 1 and it needs more variations. So duplicate one of your hair and move it to the side. Reduce the number of hair strands and add some noises. Also, feel free to play around with other deformer settings. And after this, we can start making hair layer 3, also known as flyaway layer. You only want handful of hair strands to add flow and movement to the hair. So move this hair particle, reduce the hair strand count if you need to, and of course add more variations. Once you're done, and let's say you are happy with overall result. Now you can go to the material tab to change the hair color, and if you really want, you can adjust any other settings for all the maps you need, but I think default values are just fine. Then go to the baking settings. You can define where you want to save out your texture to, texture resolutions, and image format. You can leave automatic padding as it is. And for the background settings, you can choose either solid color or transparent background, which is just alpha background. Both options are perfectly fine, but I find that sometimes a transparent background will give me a better result, but it is just my personal thing. And if you're not sure about this, you can leave the setting as it is, and you can change it later if you have any problem. Okay, now select all the maps you need by pressing Shift and click on the buttons. And finally, press the Bake Hair. It might take a while depending on your system and how many textures you are baking, but if you go make a cup of tea and come back, it should be done by that time. After the baking, just make sure your textures are looking good and enjoy styling hair for your character. I didn't spend much time on making the hair look good, so my textures are okay, but at least I hope you have learned how to use this hair tool add-on to make hair texture on your own. That is all I have for this video. So thank you so much for watching, and until next time, see you later.